Welcome to the Simple Sophisticate podcast, where intelligent living is paired with signature style. I'm your host, Shannon Ables. And whether you're listening on your commute, exercising, working in the garden, or sitting down with a hot cup of tea or a café au lait, thank you for tuning in. Let's get started. Welcome to the 277th episode of the Simple Sophisticate. Today we're going to go to Paris. How does that sound? We're going to go to Paris and we're going to be dressed in timeless seasonal style and not look like a tourist. Now, it is winter in Paris, so through December, January, and February, we're going to make sure that if you happen to be traveling to the City of Light this time of the year, any year, that you will always look and feel your best. And there are subtle changes from what we talked about last fall as to how to dress for autumn. And today's episode is entirely about the 15 essentials for timeless seasonal style when it comes to winter in Paris. But before I get to that list, this week's Petit Plaisir is a French-inspired Petit Plaisir. It's something that's very inexpensive, but something that I have been enjoying, and in fact, I'm going to go enjoy right after I finish taping this episode as a reward for getting through my work expectations for the day and just savoring a taste of France. I'll share more about that at the end of today's episode. But let's get into today's topic. You may remember that last fall I shared 2 different episodes that delineated ideas for a timeless capsule wardrobe, whether you were traveling to Paris or to London or the English countryside. Now, I've linked to those episodes on today's show notes if you want to go back and check those out. And as promised, the series continues into winter, and I know we're getting close to the end of winter. Some of us are cheering, some of us are not. But wherever you stand on winter and its chilly temperatures, if you're in Paris, you want to look good, but you also want to feel comfortable and be warm because it can be chilly in Paris. After all, the Paris Fashion Week is coming up here at the end of February, and we'll be seeing a lot of different people wearing wonderful styles that will provide inspiration. So if nothing else, this will get you excited for that week. I love watching street style during the week in London, that it is this week for Fashion Week, and then in 2 weeks' time, it's going to be in Paris. Next week, it's in Milan, so it's a little bit warmer, obviously, but those are always fun places to go to find inspiration. Of course, these are the Uber style stars. These are the street style stars that, wear all sorts of amazing trends and really stake their claim on their signature style. And you may think, well, I can't get inspiration from that. But actually, even though it may be out of our budget, we don't have to go buy those items. What I love doing is watching these styles and seeing what their color combinations are, how they layer things, and their fabric choices, because that's what we can emulate. That's what we can welcome into our own closet and see what we already have in our closet and then add to it, because these individuals know how to dress and dress very well and creatively. And just by what they do and how they put it together, we can learn. And so I've included a few of those pictures on today's show notes from the last couple of years in February in Paris as the Paris fashion shows are going on. So be sure to stop by the show notes to check those out. The simplyluxuriouslife.com/podcast 277. Now today, we're going to, like I said, return to Paris and take a look at the necessities for a timeless winter wardrobe, whether you are making a trip for business or pleasure. First of all, we need to know, what is the weather typically like in Paris? And now I have not had the opportunity to go to Paris in winter. I have been there primarily in the summertime, and I've also been in Europe in fall, but not in France in winter at all. So I look to people that have been there or live there. So Paris Perfect's vacation rentals are a trusted resource, and they shared that the average temperature during these 3 months, December, January, and February, is about 42 degrees Fahrenheit, so about 6 degrees Celsius. And keep in mind that there is about a 50% chance of cloudy days or rainy weather on any given day during the winter. So be prepared for moisture and likely not snow, although as we know from some beautiful pictures that are shared, if we've never been there during this time of year, sometimes it does snow, it just doesn't last that long. But moisture, yeah, it's going to happen. So be prepared for that. Now, depending on where you call home outside of Paris, when you're not visiting Paris, 42 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter may sound quite chilly, or it may not be that bad at all, or perhaps it's even warm compared to where you call home for the winter months. So we'll keep all of that in mind, and we're going to take a look at the list of essentials for your capsule wardrobe when you visit Paris in the winter. Let's get into these 15. Number 1, you're going to want a classic, well-constructed cashmere or wool sweater or sweaters. Now, since you're in Paris, you'll likely be inside most of the time. There's all sorts of sights to see, museums to visit, restaurants and bistros and brasseries to sit down and enjoy the wonderful cuisine. But you're going to be walking quite often from place to place, even if it is to the metro or onto the bus or into and out of your cab, and you're going to want to stay warm in between. So keep this in mind. Fine cashmere sweaters would be probably your best bet, so you can layer them, make sure you're staying warm, but also not become overheated when you are inside, sitting down, after you've taken your coat off, so on and so forth. Now, I've listed about 4 or 5 different destinations online or in person that you can visit to pick up classic cashmere wool sweaters, ones you probably already have on hand for your capsule wardrobe where you live as you go about your regular routine, go to work, and so on and so forth. One place that I highly recommend you check out, either online or, since you're in Paris, in person, is Eric Pompard. Now, I have some of their sweaters and scarves, and this is a classic French sweater company. It's an investment, but these are high quality and they will last, and they have a variety of thicknesses. So if you want that extra fine or fine sweater, they have those as well. Just make sure, if you are not French, that you order about a size larger than what you normally would order. For me, at least, I always order a large in their sweaters when I typically would wear a medium here in the States. Ralph Lauren is a great place to go for classic sweaters, the cable knit sweaters, whether it's from the Polo collection or his standalone Ralph Lauren collection. Equipment is a wonderful place for middle price point cashmere sweaters, and Vince sweaters are beautiful, a little bit more modern, but also classic, and they're based out of California. And then, of course, if you're looking for a modern French take on sweaters, check out Acne. So those are high-end designer sweaters, but they are lovely, and I have one of them, and I've been wearing it for years, and it is still in superb quality. So that's number 1. Have a couple of classic, well-constructed cashmere or wool sweaters. Number 2 is go to the dark side, meaning go to dark denim. Dark colors in general will never be a bad idea in Paris during the winter. So from dark denim jeans to dark pants, dark shoes, and dark outerwear, the benefit of knowing this, having those dark items, and having these items on hand is that you can easily mix and match them and then add a pop of color as you feel necessary or desire with your accessories, a blouse, your sweater, so on and so forth. So number 2 is to pack some dark denim. Speaking of dark denim, bring some black jeans. There's not much more to be said. Black jeans, whether it's skinny or straight, these are going to be classic items to have in your closet wherever you live. But in Paris, you're going to find this is one you're probably going to wear quite often. It's going to look great with a lot of different things, blouses, sweaters. It's going to look great while you're outside and you put your long coat over it with your heels or your boots. Probably not heels in winter. So that would be a classic item to bring with you. Number 4 is, speaking of shoes, pack waterproof leather booties or ankle boots. There are a bunch out there. They're usually very low profile, so very low to the ground, but they can have a bit, maybe about a half an inch to an inch, to give you a bit of lift and a little silhouette there. I've shared a brand online that you might want to check out. It's very chic, has a bit of a sheen to it, but you can also get matte. But those shoes are out there, waterproof leather booties, and they look great. And I've included a picture too of individuals who are wearing similar boots. we're going to stay on this shoe track. And number 5 is to bring some leather sneakers. Now, I have recently added this to my wardrobe for year round, basically, but you're going to be walking around probably quite a bit. Now, everyone's schedule is going to be different, and your reason for being there is going to be different. So you may not need sneakers, but if you're going to be walking quite a bit, you may not want to be in the boots all the time. Put your sneakers on for the day when you're walking around to the museum. I have some very simple but tasteful leather sneakers that come in a variety of different colors that you can pick up if you are in need of them. These are go-to classic ones that you can, again, wear year-round. So that's number 5, leather sneakers. Number 6 is a winter warm coat. We're talking either a puff coat. Those are actually very popular in Paris and have been for quite a while. A pea coat or something similar. So a long wrap wool coat. Long is actually preferred over short. This is something that would enable you to wear for a dressier occasion or a more casual occasion. You would always look great. The air is damp in Paris. So when the wind blows or the temperatures drop, it feels colder than it actually might be. So a long coat will keep your entire body warm while you either wait in line for a museum or are venturing outside for a stroll from one destination to another. But do go and pack that coat. In fact, you'll probably wear it on the plane to save space in your suitcase. But this one is going to be an item that you're going to be so glad you have as you bundle up. And then you can just take it off when you're inside. So you'll look great too. And that's the key. Look great. Don't wear, as I do here in Bend when I go my walks, don't wear your Patagonia. Don't wear your Columbia. That will definitely let people know that you are a tourist. And it might keep you warm and dry. And you may say, well, I don't care. But I have a feeling if you're a listener of this podcast, you do. And for Paris, yeah, definitely pack a nice wool coat. So that is number 6. Number 7 is to bring a wool blazer. Now, as I said, the temperatures on average are about 40 to 42 degrees Fahrenheit. And some days are going to be beautiful, but with a little bit of nip in the air, but not too much. And it might be a day that you can bring out number 7, a wool blazer. This is for that day that is not as chilly as the others, no moisture in the air, but still there is a bit of a chill. And so wear an oversized wool blazer, add a really warm scarf. Your ankles are covered because you're wearing your ankle boots. And you're going to look great and feel comfortable, but also be warm. And that's why having that fine knit sweater underneath, should you want to take your blazer off, you'll still look great and it won't be super hot underneath that coat. I highly recommend Theory for a mid-priced brand, quality wool blazers. These are typically in solid colors, but go for a plaid, go for something that isn't a solid. That would look great as well, especially layered over your dark denim or your black jeans or pants. So number 7 is to pack a wool blazer. Wonderful for layering. I love blazers. Number 8, pack those lovely warm scarves. I know I'm saying lovely a lot, but you want to pack what you love wearing that makes you feel good, that feels good on your skin. And you can just amp up the style. You're in Paris. Go for it. If you don't already have beautiful quality scarves, you're in Paris. Go shopping. Again, Eric Pompard makes beautiful cashmere scarves and stoles. In fact, that's where I picked up my first cashmere scarf. I think it's actually a stole. It's fairly large. That was back in 2013. I wear that scarf constantly. Still, I love it. It's still in great condition. And they have 2 or 3 boutiques in Paris. So check those out. But pack this. If you have your own, obviously you probably do. And then the stole can be like a blanket, nice and big and comfy on the plane, which is something that's kind of makes it versatile, very versatile. So that's number 8. Pack those warm scarves. And then pack a warm wool hat. No beret here. You want something that's going to cover your top of your head as well as your ears. Make sure it's wool or cashmere. And just choose something that's neutral. Doesn't have to be a super expensive hat as long as it feels good against your skin. So it's soft and keeps you warm. I've included a link to a cashmere navy beanie that's also available in black that you might like. It's on the blog, on the show notes. But you can pick these up everywhere, anywhere. Just don't forget to pack it. That's the most important part. Number 10 is to bring some gloves with you. And you're going to want those leather gloves that hopefully preferably are lined. Pick up some that are lined in cashmere so it feels really good on. And there are so many different brands that have techie kind of gloves that say that you can actually touch your phone and get to work. Now, I don't think I can. Evidently, the ones I have are tech. You can work on your phone with your glove, but I've never gotten that to work for me. But I don't care. Having leather and then cashmere lined gloves is a luxury, but it's also a necessity to keep your hands warm as you're walking about. And they look really nice too. So something that's very neutral in color. And I've linked to one from Nordstrom's on the show notes if you're interested. And then let's go to number 11. We already talked about sweaters at the top of this list, number 1, but I want to break it down a little bit more for 2 additional sweaters. So number 11 is to pack a turtleneck. Why I love turtlenecks is that there's a bit of a retro chic silhouette going on. Whether you are wearing a fitted turtleneck or an oversized one, choose one that has luxurious fabric that feels good against your skin, has a very high neck that hugs your chin, and a color that really works with your wardrobe and your skin tone because it's right there by your face. So it's going to make that undertone really pop. So if you have a cool undertone, wear something that is also cool in color and warm and yellow and whatever your tone is. Choose one that just really makes your skin tone shine. And maybe choose one that's in a pop of a color that goes really well with those dark pants or dark bottoms. Or just choose a really great neutral. So just keep that in mind. Again, all the sweater companies that I mentioned at the top of the episode are ones to look out for these turtlenecks, but keep your eye out anywhere as well. So that's number 11, pack that turtleneck. And the second type of sweater to absolutely pack is a cardigan. A cardigan is a more casual choice that you can wear during the flight for snuggling in either in the morning or evening when you return from being out and about in Paris. But it's just a lovely winter staple to have on hand, whether you're in Paris or not. Definitely one, when you find one that you love, don't think, oh, I can't pack this when I come to Paris. It's too casual. No. Bring it. It'll make you feel cozy and at home, and it will look great, and you can layer it, again, as we've been talking about. So that's number 12. Number 13 is a travel umbrella. Now, likely your accommodations, even if it's a vacation rental or a hotel, obviously, will have an umbrella that you can use. But having a packable umbrella with you wherever in the world you might find yourself traveling is never a bad idea. As I shared at the top of this episode, the likelihood that it will rain in Paris is 50-50. So it's best to be prepared, as you won't want to wear a coat with a hood, as we just talked about, because you're going to wear your wool wrap coat or whatnot. Unless there are some great coats out there, and I included a coat from St. John's that is definitely an investment that I would never be able to afford, but I hope that it'll just give you a visual of what a great cashmere coat with a hood might look like. Those, of course, would be perfect. That would be perfect, and that would be an elimination of the umbrella in that case. So that's number 13, pack your travel umbrella. Now, number 14, you're in Paris in the wintertime. And if you happen to be there in the month of January, just go shopping while you're in Paris. Why not? In January, the semi-annual French Les Soldes takes place, in which every shop will be having a sale on everything, not just the items they cannot sell or that they're trying to get rid of. So take advantage of this opportunity and shop for what you need while you are there, not just for clothes, but other things as well. But for the clothing, and we're talking all seasons, go shopping for, but specifically since you're there during winter, and if you don't have a particular item that we've talked about on this list, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to be shopping in unique boutiques and shops and designer stores as well, and finding something you love. So have fun doing that if you have time. And last but not least, let's talk about the totes and handbags. This is a recommendation that is just the same as what I mentioned in the autumn Paris shopping guide. But basically, I would make sure you have a cross-body bag as you're going about the city, a size that works for you and works with how and much you want to carry, so on and so forth. And of course, you'll need a nice travel tote for your travel days. And I've recommended my favorite, Kuyana, a navy tote that I put an insert into it so that I have some organization inside. But last time I traveled to Paris and France and as well, that's what I used on the plane. And as I was going from place to place, with regards to the trains and back to the airport and to my vacation rental, and I love it. And with regards to the crossbody bag, I mean, there's so many out there, but if you are curious about a French design, check out Pollen. Pollen is one new French handbag company that offers designer styles at mid-range price points, beautiful leather crossbody bags and mini crossbody bags in a variety of beautiful colors. They're actually made in Spain, but the company is based in France. And I recently saved up and purchased one of my own, and I'm very happy with it. I continually get compliments on it. It just has a very unique silhouette, but I use it as a crossbody bag and it has just enough room for what I need to carry, which is more than a little, but not a lot. So I usually have my wallet, obviously, and a book and maybe a notepad or a journal, and then, of course, my phone. And anyway, so I've linked to that post so you can learn more about that brand if you're curious, or go to the shop while you're there in Paris. The company is called Pollen, Polene. So check that out. So that's the list. 15 essentials for being timelessly in style when you travel to Paris. Whether your favorite time to travel to Paris is the spring or summer or fall or winter, whenever you have the opportunity to go to the City of Light, it will be hard to say no. So even if you don't want to go when it's chilly, which it's the holidays, so it'll be a lovely time to go, as we all know, go and know that you will be well packed and you will feel confident and comfortable as you walk and explore and savor the beautiful city and everything that you enjoy doing when you're there. And no one, not even the Parisians, will be any the wiser that you are a tourist unless you let it be known. Most certainly, your sartorial choices will not give you away. Now, I will certainly be coming back this spring and summer with this series to share with you ideas for your sartorial capsule wardrobe that's timeless for that particular season. And sooner than that, I will bring the Anglophile winter timeless seasonal wardrobe to you soon. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Now, I've included a couple of episodes and posts that you might be interested that are related to this topic. Episode 232 was all about 28 life and style tips from a Parisian woman. Episode 220 was about traveling alone well. As many of you already know, I've traveled to France on my own nearly every single time. And I share some tips and ideas in episode 222 with pictures from my trip to France in 2018. And then in episode 196, I shared 10 style and beauty lessons learned from the French. So those are all in the show notes, thesimplyluxuriouslife.com/podcast 277. Now I'll be right back with this week's Petit Plaisir. This week's Petit Plaisir comes from my friend who lives in France. I am so tickled to enjoy what she is now venturing into, Sharon Santoni's My French Country Home magazine. And I say friend because I have had the opportunity to spend time with her and her family in her home in Normandy, France, back in 2018. And I am so inspired by what she does and all that she does. But I have been subscribing to her new venture, which is her magazine, which comes out every 2 months. And I just received the March and April issue. It just arrived last night, actually. It was a nice thing to see at the end of a long day. And in fact, I'm going to wait until after I finish taping this episode. And then that's going to be my reward, to go sit down and snuggle in with that magazine, a good cup of tea, and just relax. But Sharon has been editing and creating, along with her contributors, this magazine that will truly take you to France and take you behind the doors of so many different places that we would never know about. She shares with you finds and beautiful photography, as well as recipes and inspiration for decor. It's just, if you love the English home magazine, because I know a lot of you are Anglophiles, just as I am. If you're also a Francophile, which I know many of you are, this is a must-have simple pleasure to give yourself. Now, you can order the print version, or you can order the digital version. They have 2 different price points, and you can order individual issues, or you can buy the subscription. It really is up to you and your style and your budget, what you prefer. But the beautiful thing is you won't be disappointed. You will just be. These are collector magazines, first of all. For less than $60, you can have a year print subscription. That's 6 issues. And for a digital subscription for 1 year, you're paying less than $36. But these really are resources. Keep these. Don't throw them away or recycle them when you're done. These are full of inspiration you can refer to constantly, or you can refer to throughout the year and throughout many years, and I'm not letting mine go. So I'll provide a link to Sharon Santoni's My French Country Home magazine on the show notes, thesimplyluxuriouslife.com/podcast 277. And I hope you've enjoyed this week's Petit Plaisir, where each week ideas are shared to make the everyday all the more enjoyable. Tune in at the end of each episode where I'll recommend a book, a film, a show, a recipe, anything that is a simple pleasure to satiate your sophisticated taste. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I want to give a quick thank you to J. Cook WYO, who just shared a recent review titled Welcome Relief. I have been listening to Shannon for about a year now. So much of my life is filled with self-help tools that make me feel like I am not good enough and need to be fixed. Shannon's podcast reminds me to slow down, relax, enjoy life a little, and the self-improvement will follow. I love the way she looks at and appreciates life. Thanks, Shannon, for a wonderful podcast and website. I want to thank you, J. Cook WYO, for sharing how this has been something that you appreciate in your life and how and why you appreciate it. I'm so tickled to hear it's been a positive influence, and thank you very much for taking the time to share your review and your thoughts. If you too are enjoying this podcast, please do leave a review or a ranking, whatever you are able to do with your time. I know you're busy, but I so appreciate those of you that have. It really does make a big difference, and I'm so tickled that we have such a listenership, I should say, around this world that just is amazing to me, but also humbling, and I take it very sincerely, seriously, what I put out, and I want to thank you for your time to tune in. Have a beautiful week, and next week is a week off from the podcast because we do 3 each month, and we take off the 4th or 5th week, and then I will be back on the first Monday of March with a brand new episode. In the meantime, stop by every Monday when we don't have an episode and enjoy Monday's motivational post to start off your week. Bonne journée. Thank you for tuning in to the Simple Sophisticate podcast, where intelligent living is paired with signature style. For more ideas and inspiration throughout the week, visit the blog, thesimplyluxuriouslife.com, or pick up my latest book, Living the Simply Luxurious Life, Making Your Everydays Extraordinary and Discovering Your Best Self, now available on Audible and wherever audiobooks are sold, as well as in paperback and ebook versions. You can also pick up my first book, Choosing the Simply Luxurious Life, A Modern Woman's Guide, which is also available in paperback, ebook, and as an audiobook as well. To stay caught up on the most recent episodes of the podcast, blog posts, the cooking show, and receive exclusive news as well as an extra dose of inspiration to jumpstart your weekend, subscribe to the Simply Luxurious Life's free weekly newsletter, which arrives in your inbox each Friday to enjoy with a hot cup of tea or cup of morning coffee. Until next Monday, I'm your host, Shannon Ables. Bonne journée!